When did your biggest weakness become your greatest weapon? For me, it happened during our senior year, in a way I never could have imagined. I finally found the courage to stand up to Sarah and Emma, the two girls who had turned my school life into a living nightmare. They had mocked me relentlessly for my stutter since middle school, turning every class presentation into an ordeal I dreaded with all my heart. It wasn't just the teasing, it was the deliberate cruelty of it all. During my speeches, they'd mimic my stammer, whispering or spit it out, just loud enough for everyone to hear. The laughter that followed always froze me in place, making my voice falter even more. Over time, I began to shrink into myself, dreading every moment I had to stand before the class. But everything changed during our final debate championship. Our teacher had announced the topic: should schools take stricter actions against bullying? The room fell into a stunned silence. Everyone shifted uncomfortably in their seats, the weight of the topic pressing down on them. Then came the twist. The teams had been assigned randomly. By sheer chance, or maybe fate, Sarah and Emma were tasked with arguing against anti-bullying measures. While I was placed on the pro side, my hands trembled as I processed what this meant. It wasn't just another debate. It was my chance. The judges would include our principal and several teachers, a panel of authority figures who had the power to act on what they heard. This wasn't just a debate anymore. It was a stage for justice. Sarah and Emma smirked at me across the room, like they had already won. Their confidence was infuriating. After all, how could the stammering, stumbling girl they'd humiliated for years possibly stand up to them? What they didn't know was that I'd been preparing for this moment, not for weeks, but for years. Every cruel word, every humiliating moment had built up inside me, fueling a determination they couldn't see. For the next 6 weeks, I poured every ounce of my energy into preparing. I practiced until my voice stopped trembling, until the words flowed smoothly, even if slowly. I memorized statistics about bullying, learned stories of survivors, and researched policies that changed lives. By the time the day of the debate arrived, I was ready. When it was my turn to speak, I took a deep breath and faced them, really faced them, for the first time in my life. The smirks on their faces faded as I began. My voice was steady, my words clear. I painted a vivid picture of the damage bullying causes, backed by hard facts, how it leads to anxiety, depression, and even suicide. I spoke about how anti-bullying policies had saved lives, creating safer spaces for students like me. The room was silent, not a whisper, not a laugh, just eyes watching, listening. Then came their turn. Sarah and Emma tried to argue that bullying builds character, that it's a natural part of growing up, but the cracks in their argument were glaring. Their words faltered, their confidence wavered. The class began whispering, not mocking me, but judging them. Everyone knew their history, knew exactly what they had done to me and others. It wasn't just a failed debate, they were exposing themselves. By the time the debate ended, the atmosphere was electric. Sarah and Emma's smirks were gone, replaced by unease. They had been beaten not just in words, but in spirit. The next day, they were called to the principal's office. The teachers who had judged the debate spoke out. Investigations were launched. Sarah and Emma lost their glowing college recommendations and were ordered to attend mandatory counseling. The balance of power had shifted, and for the first time in years, I walked through the school halls without fear. My stutter, once my biggest weakness, had become my greatest weapon. It was proof that strength doesn't come from perfection. It comes from standing up, even when your voice shakes.